It's obviously going to be high tempo for starting tomorrow. I think practices are going to be intense. We're going to have a couple good workouts. And then I think on the schedule, we have a couple exhibition games. So hopefully we could maybe get some refs out there and play like if it was an exhibition game, even though it's inter squad. But yeah, it's going to be very high tempo.
And you've been skating with a bunch of guys here for about a month, right? Is that correct?
Early September. So almost 3 full months now.
I'm sorry, I should have specified LCA at the practice facility.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, is that how much of an advantage will that have been? I mean, I know you guys usually do it right around Labor Day before going to Traverse City. I know I mean, who has any concept of time anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, advantage, I don't think so, only because we didn't really play games or scrimmages or anything like that. We did before moving into LCA, so every week we used to play one game with pretty good players from around the league before everyone kind of went back to their home cities, and those were good. But in the last month, I mean, it's been pretty tough to try and get scrimmages or games going.
Last thing for me, any of the newcomers caught your eye? If they've been at LCA with you?
I mean, we've had two groups. I only saw maybe 2 or 3 new guys. The rest were all guys from the team last year. So I've been skating with Bobby for over a month now. So, I mean, he's one of the guys I've seen the most, and he's playing really good, practicing really good. He has great skills. So I can't wait to see it in games.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Max Boltman with The Athletic.
Hey, Anthony, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just curious, what do you feel like you guys, most want to show people this year? What do you want to show yourselves coming off of how last year went?
We need to kind of forget about last year. This is a quick new season. Like I said, the tempo is going to be really high starting camp. So I think we need to bring that intensity, that will of playing hockey to the start of the season. Obviously we want to prove people wrong, like it's been the message for 2 years now. Yes, we're in a rebuild mode, but we want to take it to the next step. We don't want to be a rebuild mode for 5 more years. We want to finish it this year. This is our chance. I mean, we had a great start last year, so hopefully we could get a great start, build off of that, and then move into it's going to be have the season just like that. And then at that point, it's kind of keep things going for a playoff push.
And then is there an area of your own game that you kind of focused on the most, trying to improve this off season?
I tried getting better skating again, a couple power skating lessons. Obviously, we had so much time to do skills and shots. So those are just natural attributes that when you hop on the ice, you practice right away.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next question is from Ted Colton with the Detroit News.
Hey, Anthony, how you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hey, just talk about the divisional alignment, playing those teams 7 or 8 times. How do you expect those games are going to be by the end of the season? I mean,
they're going to be intense. I would think so too. At the same time, we're playing so many games in such a tight schedule that maybe the physicality is going to kind of wear off a little bit. So it's either one or the other. So it's hard to tell right now. We're going to see probably after a couple games how it goes. But I mean, there's going to be new rivalries that's going to get created over this season for sure.
Hey, just talk about this 9 or 10 month span. I mean, it's a general question, but it's like, how has it been? I mean, being away from hockey so much and everything going on, have you ever, imagine you ever experienced anything like it, obviously?
No, not at all. It's been tough. It's been long, obviously. But the only positive point that we could take out of it is everyone's excited to be back at the rink. Everyone's excited to get going. So hopefully we carried that into the season and we just have fun playing the game we had the chance to do for a living, and that's about it.
Does it make you appreciate it a little bit more?
100%.
Thanks, Anthony.
You're welcome.
Our next question is from Ansar Khan with MLive.
Hi, Anthony. With this condensed camp, no preseason games, not a lot of time to gain to develop chemistry between lines, especially with some new people up there up front. If you were to stick with you, Dylan and Bert, you guys obviously know each other well, played real well together. How much do you think that would help from the start and just accelerating the chemistry between lines?
Obviously, we played so many games together. It would be just the easy way to go. But obviously, we're not in charge. I'm not in charge. So Blash is going to take the decisions. There's a couple new guys that they went to get. Obviously, there's a couple guys that might make the team younger guys. So it's in his hands. We have 2 weeks of camp to try and get the best chemistry out there, the best team together for game one, the 14th. So we need to figure it out. And whoever you're playing with, I mean, chemistry is just going to come eventually.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Our next question is from Daniela Bruce with Red Wings TV.
Hi, Anthony. Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
Kind of going back to the divisions and the schedule, it's different this year in the fact that you play a lot more back-to-backs and you play teams basically in 2-game series. As a player, how do you feel about that? Do you like the fact that you're going to see a team again the next day or, 2 days later?
I mean, it's hard to answer that question right now. I think we only had once or twice that chance. I think Carolina last year or something. So it's going to be a different experience. Obviously, if there's, I don't know, if it starts hitting a lot in game one, well, you got to be ready for a physical game on the second night. It's going to be hard for the body, but it's the same thing for both teams. So at that point, it's really who wants it more.
And you have some really tough teams in your division, including the 2 teams that went to the Stanley Cup final. How do you think playing teams like that will benefit this team?
It's going to be hard. Obviously, they're great teams. Our division is stacked this year. It's going to be a great challenge for us. And like I said earlier, if we want to prove people wrong, they're the teams we need to beat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next question is from Carly Johnson with Red Wings TV.
Hey, Anthony. Happy almost 2021. I'm sure you're excited.
Yep. Are we all not?
Right. All right. So I want to ask a little bit about the season we have. We have a condensed season, and we kind of saw this a little bit with the Detroit Tigers, who obviously haven't had a good few past years, but they had a pretty decent year this year, a lot better than they've had. Do you think that's something that could happen with you guys, with this odd season going on, maybe you win 4 games in a row and you're really ahead of these other teams? Is that something you think could happen to you guys and maybe get you that much closer to a playoff push?
For sure. I mean, like we said, we're going to face teams 2 times in a row. So it's a matter of fact of beating a couple when you're playing them 2 games in a row and then going 500 against all the other teams, and you're basically in playoffs. So for us, that's probably going to be the goal. The thing that we need to not happen is lose two games in a row against the same team and then lose 2 other against another team. So it's going to be really interesting to see where we're heading with all these games. But like I said, everyone's excited to be back, and hopefully we get it going real quick.
Coming back and going into Little Caesars Arena, what are some of the little things that you never really noticed that you appreciated before that now you're like, wow, I really missed that?
What we do miss the most is our chef, I think. Right now, going at the rink and having to come back home and cook is totally different than just eating around the rink and having everything prepared for you.
We all miss Chef Phil. Thank you so much, Ant.
You're welcome.
Our next question is from Art Regner with DetroitRedWings.com.
Hey, Anthony, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I have a couple of questions for you. The first one is, in a 56-game schedule, have you set a goal mark for yourself? Do you think 40 is possible?
I don't think anyone's going to hit 40 in this league this year.
Just because of the condensed schedule, or?
I mean, there's that. I mean, you get COVID, you're out for 14 days, plus couple days to come back, you're missing basically 10 games. Or if you're in contact with anyone who had COVID, you're missing 10 days. So, I mean, hopefully everyone stays healthy around the league, but it's not a guarantee. And I mean, 40 and 56 is outrageous numbers for sure.
I know you've heard this over the years. Everybody, when they talk about you, always says if he can stay healthy. But we've talked about this. Trying to temper your emotions on the ice, wouldn't that take away from your game? I mean, if you're going to drop the gloves, you're just going to drop the gloves. Or are you going to work on trying to not be so engaging on the ice?
I'm going to try not to drop the gloves. That's for sure. Not being engaged is not being in the game. So I don't think I'm going to take that aspect of my game away. Like we said, it's going to be physical games. You're playing the teams 7 or 8 times this year. So you can't be on your heels. You want to put pressure on them. And I think that's the mentality I need to go in this year with.
How difficult will it be for you to, and this is my last question, I promise. How difficult will it be for you to try to balance between staying healthy and resting, knowing that in a condensed schedule with no preseason games, I mean, groin injuries are part of the game. I mean, do you have a balance that you're going to try even on days off, maybe keep stretching or doing something to make sure, even though mentally you might be fatigued, you know that your body may need something like that?
Obviously, everything's going to come in play. I think we have a great staff that's going to be looking over us even more this year than any other years. And nutrition is going to be on point. Obviously, the Barwis team with Mike looking over us, they have all a great setup for rehab, not rehab, I should say correctives instead, to maintain your body. And I think that's going to be the biggest aspect of this season. And hopefully everything goes well.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate it. BT Express. See ya.
Thank you.
All right, and our last question today will be from Nick Katsunika with NHL.com.
Hey, Anthony. Hope you're well.
I am. Thank you.
Just a couple questions. One, if you've seen any of the guys who've been playing in Europe, the European leagues, can you notice a difference just in how sharp they are having played games? And then two, the guys who haven't been over there, has anybody used the time really well to get bigger, stronger, faster, anything like that?
To answer the first question, they came back a couple days ago, so they had to quarantine to start today/tomorrow. So I haven't seen many of those guys on the ice yet, just because they haven't been around. And to answer your second question, I mean, everyone's stronger, bigger, faster. We had so much time in our hands that if you weren't stronger and faster, then you kind of wasted time this summer.
All right. Looks like that's all the questions we have today. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Have a happy new year, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, Anthony.
Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it.